My forecast for Italy has got an acceleration bit first and then a deceleration. It's really interesting. Even though it's the same kind of decreasing trend as the South Korea one, but it's only at the beginning of the decrease, right? South Korea forecast is already decelerating. The same for the world cases, or the China cases rather. Same for the forecast for the China cases and the China deaths, right? They're already slowing down a lot. Well, they're already slowing down appreciably because we're about here now, right? So, but I'm taking it from a point a number of days ago. Just take the point a number of days ago and forecast it forward, just to see if it's accurate from a few days ago, see if it's a decent forecast. But the Italy forecast, which is very, very tentative, says 15,000, 16,000 cases, right? But it's still got an accelerating portion first. That's really interesting. I don't really understand that. Is this the Italy forecast? This is the Italy forecast I've just done, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so this is still increasing per day. Look, that's still increasing. And then it starts to decrease. So it hasn't peaked yet. The new cases, where that box is there, 450.9, goes into the 600s, and then it comes down again. And it goes to 0 eventually. Whereas if I look at the South Korea one, wherever that is, probably here. South Korea forecast, okay. The South Korea percent forecast is here, and the new cases are there. Where are the new cases? The new cases are here. Right, so that's the percent, that's the actual cases, is it? That's the actual cases here. Right, going to 5328. And I started to forecast from this point, 3736. But I calculated the line using all of these points. So I start at 3736, which is a point on the line, and I forecast forward. So 5328, 5549 I forecast, which is a little bit high. 4812, 4956, which is a little bit high, but it's still pretty close. So had a couple of points below the line maybe, and it forecasts, as you can see, 10,950 cases altogether. But if I look at these increases, they've already peaked. These increases here have already peaked at 612, and they're already starting to go down. So you see on the chart, when you put it on the chart, South Korea forecast, that it's already slowing down. Well, it's just about starting to slow down. The gaps between, it's only just peaked about just down here, so it's slowing down very slowly, and then it slows down, if you like, more quickly, till it gets to a 0 slope. I wonder where that point of inflection, I wonder how you can calculate where this point is. So Italy's increased like that, right? And wait a minute, let's have a look for Italy. Maybe I can't find Italy on here now. I bet I can't. Italy. Okay, I've got Italy here somewhere. Italy case is still going up a lot, you see. But actually, the new cases, looks like the new cases peaked there, but it's forecasting that the new cases actually haven't peaked yet then. It's thinking there are going to be a higher number of new cases for a little while, and it's going to come down like that. So that's interesting. It's forecasting it not to actually accelerate exponentially in percentage terms, but there's going to be a bigger jump than this further up the line somewhere in a few days. That's really interesting. That is interesting, actually. But I don't quite know. There must be a point at which you can calculate when that point of inflection is, but when this point where it gets to the maximum slope and then it starts to decrease is, but I'm not sure what that really signifies. You're halfway up the S-curve because you've gone up this bit, you're nearly to the steepest point, and then you're going over. I think it's a bit early days to forecast for Italy because the graph is quite poor quality. Okay, the Italy trend, that's the South Korea trend, and the South Korea forecast, that was a log of the South Korea trend. This is the actual South Korea trend. Okay, this is the Italy trend. There's too few points on it really, but at least, you know, at least it's sort of coincident a few times. So it's too high, it's too low some days, that doesn't really matter that much. And if you go back to the other stuff, you go back to the China forecast, for instance, that used to be the world forecast, but it's not going to work for the world because the world's pulling away and this percentage is going up. But for the China forecast, for cases and deaths, you see you've got plenty of points on the graph, lots of points for the cases in blue and the deaths in red. I mean, you got like 30 something points, and the two trend lines, two equations, you know, they're pretty consistent now, actually. Yeah, they're pretty consistent, and these slopes probably are getting pretty consistent as well. Not the R squared. The R squareds aren't too bad. The slope minus 0.091 and minus 0.149. The more negative that number is, the quicker the cases are falling off. So let's compare that with Korea. Korea. South Korea trend. So that's minus 0.149. That's minus 0.161. So South Korea's falling off faster than Italy. And Italy is minus 0.111. So that's falling off more slowly than either of the others. So that's why, even though you haven't got as many cases in South Korea, in Italy as South Korea, because you've already got 4,900 in South Korea and 2,500 in Italy, right, in that sort of reddish, right, South Korea got 5,328. The forecast is going to give you 10,000 something for South Korea and 15,000 for Italy, because the slope of the line is shallower. So that means that there's going to be a significant, when you look at these trend lines for the percentage daily increase, it's going to go to zero more slowly. So South Korea is going to zero quicker than Italy. Okay, that's going to drag out longer, so you're going to get more cases, and it'll be a longer time before the epidemic stops. But I think it's too early to forecast for Italy, but I'm getting about 15,000 anyway, and about 11,000 for South Korea and about 87,000 for China. But you can't forecast for the rest of the world now, because every one of them is going to be one of those S-curves, every single country separately. So you can only try and forecast for each country separately now. So for England and stuff, you just don't know where it's going to be for Britain or for America or for Iran. I mean, heaven help those people in Iran, what's going to happen to them, really.